Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Sharon Let's Live with Marlene Dillon, Empowerment Specialist. Today I did something new. I stood up for myself. I walked in my power. I didn't let someone bully me. I decided enough is enough and you don't get to take over my life. What I realized is that some kids become bullies because they're bullied. And some kids become doormats because they're used to being stepped on. For most of my life, I have been a doormat. I've allowed people to walk in, wipe their feet on me, and leave. And I just let it happen. I would be so exhausted from the experience of the relationship that I was just like, it's fine, just go. I don't need anything from you, just leave. It's okay. Never fought back. But today I handled things differently. Today I recognized that this was my opportunity to take my life back. Today I recognized that I actually have something that I want to hold on to, and that I don't want anyone to feel they have the right to take from me. Today I recognize that it's bigger than me, because I'm showing my daughter what it means to stand in your power. And the relationship I have with my daughter is so beautiful that both of us had situations that we needed to handle. And we decided to lean on each other, because stepping into my power in this moment is so new for me that I was kind of resisting it. I knew I had to do it, but I kept putting it off. She had something she needed to do, and she kept putting it off. So I told her, look, let's do this together. I'll take care of my business. You take care of your business. And she was like, deal. And I was like, shit. Because I realized that now I have to do the thing that I told her I was going to do. Because one thing my daughter knows about me is that I don't make promises, because I don't like to go back on my word. So if I tell somebody I'm going to do something, that's what I'm going to do. Unless there are some circumstances that are like beyond my control. And then I will apologize. But generally speaking, I do not make plans with anybody. I do not tell anyone that I'm definitely doing anything unless I'm completely certain. So I told my daughter I was going to do this thing with her. She did her part yesterday. Mine was time sensitive, so I couldn't do it after a certain hour. So I had to do mine today. And when I woke up, there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to do what I needed to do to make sure that got done. And I took care of my business. And I am so proud of myself, because this whole journey, like this leg of the journey that's been all about recognizing my value, recognizing that I don't have to believe about myself what other people have taught me, that I get to see myself through different eyes, that I get to take off the lens that they've given me and look at myself clearly and see my value. My inner conversations are different now because I stopped looking at myself through their lens, and I see myself now. And because I see myself, I now get to take control of my life. I felt powerless for so long because I got used to being bullied and feeling like I couldn't do anything about it. So today I'm so grateful for the inner work I've been doing. And when I say inner work, it might sound super complex, but I did a very simple. Now, simple and easy are not the same thing. Simple, not a lot of steps. Easy, no. It took effort and energy and and being willing to look at things through new eyes, and being willing to think about things I didn't want to think about, and being intentional about reframing things. It took acceptance that one person's opinion isn't more important than another. It took me going back and looking at old moments, memories that meant something, and looking at them through adult eyes without the lens. And I'm going to give you a quick example of how that works. I have a memory that would pop up every once in a while where I'm sitting in the auditorium at my grammar school, and it's the awards assembly. The awards assembly is going on, and I and another classmate used to get all the awards. Like, whatever awards were available, we got pretty much all of them. He got definitely all of them, and I would get like all but one of them. And and the person sitting next to me was a person who didn't really get that many awards. So this person, at the awards assembly, this person leans over. I think maybe I just got back from walking up to the stage and grabbing one more of my awards. So I sit down, and the girl leans over. And I don't even remember who she was. I just remembered that she leaned over and said, "I wish I could get awards like you all." And she was so sad, and it made me feel bad. And when I look back on that memory, like, the memory would just like kind of flash before my eyes every once in a while, just over the years. But it wasn't until I like actually took time to think, why is that memory coming up? What significance does it have? That I realized that was a major moment in my life, because I realized that when I succeed, it causes other people pain. I didn't have the processing ability to look at it and think, not my problem. Or to look at it and think, well, I mean, she could do what I did and then she could get, more awards. All I could do in that moment was feel bad at a moment when I was supposed to be feeling good. And I believe that in that moment, a little something shifted in me about my view of success. I'm not saying that it completely altered my view of success, but I recognized in that moment that my success can cause other people pain. I didn't look at it as jealousy, or she shouldn't have said that to me because I'm supposed to be in my happy moment. I didn't look at it that way. I just saw it as she was just speaking honestly in that moment, and seeing me achieve made her feel bad because she wasn't achieving as I was. Over the years, without thinking about it, not without thinking of that moment or other moments, because there have been many, I didn't think about what impact those moments had on me, because I'm a person who likes people to feel good. And I felt like that was part of my responsibility, is to help people feel good. Because that was what adults in my life convinced me was my job, by their behavior, by their language, by their facial expressions, that if they didn't have a smile on their face, I was not doing my job. If they're not smiling, I did something wrong. Our home environment is our first example of what interactions with other people will be like. So as I went on, I never really made things about me. It was always about how am I showing up for other people. I never really wanted anything in return. I mean, love would be nice. But I didn't really want anything in return. I felt like my job was to be there for people and to show up for people and to be the person that people could call. And over my lifetime, I became the person who was like everyone's closest friend, but I didn't have one like a close friend. especially like as I got older, I didn't have like my person that I could come to, but everybody had me. So, getting back to the event today. So today I had the opportunity to show up in a different way. And I was nervous, like, because I've never really fought back before. And it wasn't really a fight exactly. It was more of recognizing that nobody has a right to what I've done and what I've created. And actually deciding I don't want anyone to ride on my successes, especially if they're not contributing to my life. So I always see these posts on social media where they're like, my toxic trait is, and it's usually not anything like majorly toxic. So I would, if I was to create my own, I would say that my toxic trait is seeing the good in everybody and ignoring the bad. Hiding red flags behind my back, like, oh, let me get that off of your lawn. Like, I saw that, but I'm gonna focus on the good in you. And and because of that, I have found myself over the years in relationship with people who I thought had my best interest at heart. But when I had time to sit and really think about it and focus on the whole picture, I realized that those people always had their own best interest at heart. And I'm not saying that it's not a good idea to keep your best interests in the forefront, but I feel like there's a certain aspect of give and take that's involved in relationship where it's not always about your best interest. Sometimes you want the other person to win. And it's even better if everyone's winning. But sometimes, it may be like maybe you let them use the car because you wanted them to be at ease so that they can go to their job interview, and you decide to take an Uber or take public transportation just for that day or whatever, because you know that would make a difference for them. Now, I'm the type of person, or in the past, because she's dead now. In the past, I was the kind of person who would let that person use the car and then not take my keys back because I don't want to offend them. And now they're just using my car all the time. Because I'm like, well, I don't want them to think, I don't want to have I would avoid confrontation so much that I would always put myself at a disadvantage in relationships. Like, I remember being on the phone with a friend when I had a job interview, and she was like pouring out her heart about what was going on with her. She had already repeated the story like 5 times. We've been on the phone for hours. I've already gotten dressed while on the phone. She's still talking. I put on my coat while on the phone. She's still talking. I've said a few times, I need to get going. This is before cell phones. I said a few times, I need to get going because, I got to get to my interview. And she might have said something like, okay, just one more thing, and then talk for another hour. And I never spoke up because I didn't want to hurt her feelings and have her feel like I wasn't there for her. So needless to say, I did not end up making it to that job interview. Like, I just decided, okay, I guess I'm not going to that interview. I guess it wasn't meant to be. And I would do things like that all the time. And the let someone use my car scenario actually did happen with my ex. And he was driving my car all over the place and then making me feel bad when he would come visit. Come visit, meaning bring my car back. And I would totally just take it oh, I'm such an inconvenience. Yeah, that girl is dead. She doesn't live here anymore. So all of this inner work of working on the conversations that I'm having with myself, like when my mind is saying you ain't shit, that I'm like, well, actually, let me give you a little rundown of who I really am. It's that type of changing the conversation. It's recognizing, if this is the way my mama thought about me, I don't have to think that way about me. If this is the way my exes told me I was, that doesn't mean that that's who I am. Just because I've attracted the same kind of people over and over again doesn't mean that I am who they say I am. But it might mean that I believe on a deeper level that I only deserve so much because that's what I was taught. So now I get to change what I believe I deserve and look at myself through new eyes. I get to look at myself through the eyes of if it was me looking at a friend who is me, who has all the same qualities, characteristics, credentials, etc., what would I think about them? Taking myself out of it and saying like, wait a minute, that chick is kind of fucking awesome. I've been having new conversations with myself. I have been changing how I'm communicating with myself. Because of that, I have gone from I ain't shit to I am the shit. And I don't feel bad about it. Like I would always feel like I was doing something wrong by acknowledging my gifts and my qualifications and writing a resume was one of the hardest things on earth for me because I was taught that you don't toot your own horn. But now I'm over here like, toot toot. Because I realize that I'm not going to get far walking around thinking that I ain't shit. It's just not going to work. I've done that for 40 plus years. But I'm learning that confidence is not conceit. That is one of the biggest conversation changes in my mind. I'm learning that when I hear that voice in my head say, who do you think you are to do blah, 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 that I'm not saying like, you're right. I'm saying, oh, if you're saying that, then I must be on the right track. Because I've been listening to you all this time saying, oh, I guess you're right. I ain't shit. I'm not supposed to do that. But if I am the shit, then that's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's the thing, like I was talking about, I think I did a meme or something yesterday about how opportunities are often disguised as bullshit. This bullshit that I've been dealing with, this really hurtful, I can't believe someone is using me or trying to take advantage of me or whatever other words I would use. Because of this situation that I've been trying to navigate, that's been like running in the background of my mind, like giving me such unrest, I have turned a corner, this is a major pivot in my life. This is like trajectory shifting that I am moving from one way of thinking that I've held like my whole life to a whole different way of thinking and it's making me take ownership of who I am. It's making me take ownership of what I've created. It's making me take ownership of what I've built. For the longest time, I felt I wasn't shit because I was basing my value purely on how much money I had. I wasn't basing it on who I helped. I wasn't basing it on who I am. I wasn't basing it on what I've done. I wasn't basing it on what I've learned. I wasn't basing it on how I've changed, how I've grown, who I've helped grow. It was all about how much money do I have? Because that's how I was trained. That no matter what I did, it did not matter. Because the one question that was going to be asked, how much did they pay you for that? But then I changed my inner conversation. I decided what's important. I decided that I get to set the priorities in my life. I get to set what matters. I get to set what's important. I get to make the decision that doing what matters to me, doing what is my priority, whether I get paid for it or not, that it matters, and that it matters more than what anyone else thinks about it. I blog and share that with everybody. It's not subscription based. It's not membership based. My podcast, it's for everybody. It's not subscription based. It's not membership based. It's not based on how much you pay me. I want everybody to have the opportunity to grow like I'm growing. I want everybody to have the opportunity to know the things that I now know. I want everybody to save themselves time by learning from the lessons that I had to go through. I don't want you to have to go through it. Some people are like, I went through it. You need to go through it too. I'm a person who likes to save people time. That's why I talk to girls in schools, because I want to save them time. If you can learn the lessons I know at 44 and you are 14, I just saved you 30 years. 30 years of wasting time. 30 years of being in jacked up relationships. 30 years of being in friendships that don't serve you, that keep you from your goals. I get to talk to you and say, yeah, they may say that you can't do this, but if you know that this is what you were born to do, ignore that voice. So you don't end up going through your life, going down a track, focusing on a career that ain't it, when you already know what it is that you want to do. And your job is to block out the voice of people who tell you can't do it. Anywho, I'm over here fired up because I'm so excited. I just took my life back. I just, for the first time, decided that another person who feels that they're smarter than me, stronger than me, more crafty than me, I just decided, no, that ends today. You don't get to run this. This is mine and I'm fighting for it. And I am so proud of myself. I can't wait to get home and tell my daughter. So today is day 6. Oh yeah, because July 6th. Today is day 6 of my Let's Try July challenge. And I'm calling it the Let's Try July challenge because every day I am posting an empowering podcast where I'm sharing insights and storytelling. And at the end of the podcast episode, I offer you a challenge to try a new way of thinking. So your opportunity for today, your growth opportunity for today is to try. So your growth opportunity for today is to look at your life and look if there's an area where you need to take your power back. You know, maybe it's that coworker that keeps eating your sandwich and you just aren't saying anything. You just go to the refrigerator and your lunch is gone and you just sigh and go back to your desk. Maybe it's that coworker or whoever who's been sexually harassing you and you know that you need to talk to HR. Maybe it's that friend that you know is using you, but you're just letting them do it and acting like you don't know. And maybe it's not that you need to directly confront anybody. Maybe it's that you just no longer offer them access to you like that. Maybe it's that toxic friendship that is draining the hell out of you, that you decide, you know what, I'm going to set up some boundaries here. Maybe it's your mother or father or sibling or someone who is a little too involved in your relationship or who's overstepping in your life, offering their opinion unsolicited, and your feelings are constantly being hurt, but you've never said anything to them. Maybe it's time to establish some new rules for your life. India Ari has a song called I Choose. And in the song, she talks about, that she had to sit her mama down and tell her, like, look, I'm grown. So our relationship is changing now. And everything doesn't have to be like a combative, aggressive thing. It's okay to be assertive. There's a difference. So aggressive is you got to yell about it and you got to hurt people's feelings and you got to do that. And then passive aggressive is that you just do little side things that don't, where you're not being direct, but you're being snooty, or you're giving people the silent treatment, or you're doing all these things, but you're not coming at them directly and saying this is what's going on. But assertive is what I want you to try being assertive, where you come at people respectfully and you let them know what it is and what it isn't. You let them know what the new rules are. You let them know, and you can do that in a loving way. You can say, I know that you say these things because you care about me, but they are hurting my feelings, and I don't want you to hurt my feelings anymore. So from this point forward, this is how I would like you to address blah, 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 blah. That's assertive. You're being direct, but you're also being respectful. You can still be loving. You can still be kind. And people will respond, however they respond. Because I have come at people in a loving and assertive manner and they responded aggressively. So don't assume that because you came at a person correctly, that they're going to come at you correctly. That's not necessarily the case, especially if you're dealing with someone who's narcissistic. Anyway, so that's your challenge for the day. Stepping up, being assertive in your life, finding a way to step into your power. And like I said, it doesn't have to be in any kind of like you about to fight somebody or cuss somebody out or anything like that. You can lovingly assert yourself. You can professionally assert yourself. Anyway, this is Marlene Dillon, Empowerment Specialist. I hope this was helpful for you. I am so excited about stepping into my power. I hope that this will help you step into yours. Have an amazing whatever time of day it is for you. Blessings. To learn more about me, Marlene Dillon, Empowerment Specialist, please visit mdillondesigns.com. There you can find more podcast episodes. You can read my inspirational blog. You can check out my online store of personalized gifts featuring the characters from my empowering children's book, I'm Proud to Be Natural Me. You can find parenting resources, including my online communication course, Healing Our Families, Healing the Parent-Child Relationship. Please follow and share if you found this podcast inspiring. Thank you and have an amazing day.